Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's Randers, and we've made it. We've made it to the end of the NBA season. It's been one heck of a ride, to say the least, and now we get the play-in tournament. This has been a great addition by the NBA. I think we can firmly say that now. A lot of people were on the fence when the play-in tournament was first integrated into the NBA season, but now I think we're really seeing it's a really good option that the NBA added. We have teams that are still clawing and fighting to get into these playoffs, and these games just add a little bit more excitement to the end of their year. In addition, top-seeded teams can't sit their guys anymore. If you're a 6 seed and you're bordering on that play-in spot, the 6, 7 seeds are fighting, the 6 seed has to play their guys, and we've really seen that throughout the whole season and really in the Western Conference. The Suns, Pelicans, Lakers. I mean, they were all battling, they were all competing, and they really couldn't afford to sit their guys. With that being said, I also think it's a great addition, and I wanted to break down this year's play-in tournament and kind of give my predictions on how I think it's going to go. I think we'll start off in the East because I feel like it's going to be a lot more easier to predict than the West, because obviously the West was so talented this year. 4 playoff quality teams in this play-in tournament, and it can go anyway. But let's get into the East. Starting off with the 9 and 10 seed game, we have the Bulls versus the Atlanta Hawks in the United Center. Ice Trae's going to be back for this game, which is really exciting to see. Unfortunately, the Bulls are not going to have their full squad. Patrick Williams, Zach LaVine, obviously Lonzo, they're all still out. But it should be a dogfight either way. Diving into this matchup, I'm leaning towards the Hawks initially. I've watched a lot of Bulls games so far this year. I live in the Chicagoland area. I don't trust them that much. I think watching them more has exposed a lot of their weaknesses to my eyes personally. If we jump into individual matchups, Coby White versus Trae Young, 2 offensive-minded guards. I think Trae is the better player, but will he be better coming off from the injury? We don't know. I'll call that a scratch. Coby White, he's been playing amazing ball. Trae is going to be rusty. It's a scratch in my opinion. DeMar DeRozan versus DeJounte Murray. Once again, it's close. It really is. DeJounte's been playing really well since Trae's been out, but we did see when they were playing together that the fit is a little off. They're both ball dominant. They're both not great defenders, even though DeJounte Murray was supposed to be this really good defender coming into Atlanta. Unfortunately, hasn't happened. And Quinn Snyder really hasn't been able to unlock this team defensively, considering that's what he was brought in here to do. He was supposed to be a defensive-minded coach who would get this team to sit, and then they have the offensive pieces to kind of, get by. I can see this game being fairly low scoring. The Bulls in general don't score a lot of points. Their offense is really rough at times, and when your best player, DeMar DeRozan, is kind of a 2000s player, he thrives from the mid-range, but he doesn't have a good 3 ball. He's not going to get to the rim a ton. It's going to be a low-scoring game. Despite that, I think the Hawks will have enough offensive power to kind of get through this game. But once again, it's at the United Center. I could really see it going either way. To put a final stamp on it, I'm going to lean with the Atlanta Hawks, but I'm not going to be surprised if the Bulls somehow squeak this one out. Either way, this team is going on to play another game, and if they win that, they're just going to play the Boston Celtics, which is most likely going to be a 4-5 game series at the max. So with the Atlanta Hawks advancing, let's head over to the 7-8 game. In the 7-8 seed game, we have the Philadelphia 76ers versus the Miami Heat. I find this game just to be a little bit more tough to predict. Look, you can't count out the Heat. They always turn up and they win when you really don't expect them to. We saw this last year. They were an 8 seed. They were a play-in squad who were losing to the Bulls in the 4th quarter of the play-in. They realistically could have missed the playoffs. In this game, it's going to be a battle of the stars. Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid versus Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. Starting off with the 76ers, they've been playing really well since Joel came back. He's slowly returning to, I'm not going to say the clear MVP form, but he's getting close to that level of play again. He's still struggling with a little bit of fatigue. Obviously, he missed a really long time with this injury. I think it was a torn meniscus, if I'm not mistaken. So he's still getting back into form, but he's been playing for about a week and a half, maybe even 2 at this point. Don't be surprised if JoJo goes off in a game that he needs to win. This game is so crucial because you avoid the Celtics. If you can avoid the Celtics, you're in a lot better shape. And the 2-seeded Knicks, they're beat up. Anunoby's been hurt. Julius Randle's out. And you never know what can happen. Knowing that the pressure is on the line, it's making me want to side with the Heat. The Heat come to play in these big moments. Yet again, they haven't had a good season. It's been rocky, but that's like all Miami Heat seasons. Rocky regular season, turn up in the playoffs. But I'm going to lean with the 76ers. Maxey, all-star. He's been unbelievable this year. MIP, runner-up, maybe even winner. I'm not sure, but he's taken that step. He's been that elite guard that they needed when James Harden left, and he's thrived. So you got Maxey, you got JoJo. Tobias Harris, he could be a big X factor in this game. If he puts up a stinker or is non-existent, the Heat might be able to sneak away with this one. But if Tobias can do his job, play good offense, sit on defense, hit his shots, be efficient, look, they're probably going to win this game if that happens. The Heat are going to have their role players step up also. Guys like Caleb Martin, Nikola Jovic, if those guys can step up, the Heat can grind a game out. Like the other play-in game in the East, I feel like this is going to be a dogfight, defensive game. It's the playoffs, and that's what the playoffs are. It's a half-court game. You don't see as many fast breaks. The game really slows down, and you got to rely on your stars. I'm going to rely on the guy who was most likely going to win his second MVP in a row in Joel Embiid. I know he's been hurt. I don't think they're going to have an answer for him. Moving over to the West. The West is a lot more difficult than the East. That's for sure. Let's start with the 9-10 game. Warriors, Kings. This is a rematch of last year's playoffs. Both some really quality playoff teams. It's going to be interesting. It really is. The game is in Sacramento, which I don't know if that benefits them really that much. The Warriors are, hour and a half bus ride from there. So I don't think travel's going to make a big difference in this game. It comes down to, is De'Aaron Fox going to show up to play today? De'Aaron is easily the Kings' best player when he's on. He has to have a good game if he wants this team to advance. We need a 40 piece from De'Aaron tonight. That's what the Kings need. They need him to step up their game because Sabonis is going to do his job. Sabonis, walking double-double. He's a great passer. He's going to rebound hard. NBA's league leader in that area. And he'll put the ball in the basket a few times, but you can't rely on that. You need to rely on De'Aaron Fox to score the ball, especially with Malik Monk out. I'm assuming Keon Ellis is going to get the Steph Curry matchup, which is going to be really interesting to see. Ellis has broken out this past second half of the year. Been playing amazing defense. Offense, still a work in progress. That's not what you need from him tonight. You need him to lock up on Steph Curry. Speaking of Steph Curry, he needs to score if he wants these Warriors to win. His supporting cast, there's not a lot of offense. You have Kuminga, you have Clay, you have Draymond, but those guys aren't going to score the basketball. Neither really is Podziemski. Curry's got to put the ball in the basket. That's what it comes down to. Speaking of those Warriors role players, though, they need to be ready to play some defense. You cannot let this Kings team get hot. If they get hot, it's going to be a long night for these Warriors. The Kings, they shoot really well from deep. I don't know if they'll have Kevin Huerter back for this game, but if they do, that's just another threat you have to worry about on the outside. If the Warriors sit down, play some defense, I think they can get a dub, but I'm not going to go that way. I'm going to go with the Kings. I think they're going to get some revenge from last year's playoffs. That was a hard-fought series the whole way through. It went to Game 7, and it came down to the final straw in Game 7. And I think the Kings, they're battle-tested. They've gone through a playoff series now. They know the environment. They're ready for this game. With the emergence of guys like Keon Ellis, another step from Keegan Murray. If Herter's back, that'll be fantastic. And then they have their two stars. Look, the Kings, they can find a way to squeak out a win here. So that's what I'm going to take. I got the Kings advancing to the next game, and the Warriors are going to go home. Now for the 7-8 game in the West, Lakers versus Pelicans. This is going to be interesting. These are both two really good squads. Really good squads. The Pelicans were looking amazing. They were the 5 seed when they were all healthy. Unfortunately, B.I.'s hurt. We don't know when he'll be back. Probably not for this game. Actually, he's officially not playing in this game. And he probably won't be back for the next playing game if they were to lose this one. The dynamic they had with Zion running the point, B.I. being able to create in the half court when need be. Valanciunas just being solid as per usual. And then they had their bench guys coming in. They had Trey Murphy. Herb Jones is not a bench guy, but great role player. Avogadro or whatever the hell his name is. I really don't know. But all playing their roles, playing them really nicely. Larry Nance, shout out Larry Nance. Gotta put that in there. We'll see what happens with the Pelicans. They're really hit or miss right now. They're going to get hot or they're going to sink under the pressure with one of their best players out. Then you got the Lakers. Amazing season from the Lakers. They got hot towards the end of the season. Kind of took their foot off the gas maybe last week or so. But otherwise, really great finish to the season. Bron doing Bron things. I don't know if I want to call him the GOAT. I'm really between him and Jordan. I can't pick. We got to see both their careers finish. If Bron can get another chip, okay, maybe he's the for sure GOAT for me, but I'm not quite there yet. Bron's going to do his thing. He always comes to play in these big moments. Can we see 30-40 out of LeBron tonight if need be? Perhaps. I would not rule it out. Then you got AD. Great defensive season. Really underrated defensive season. Just the anchor on that side of the ball for this Lakers team. And then on offense, doing his part, doing his job. He's putting up over 20 a game. He's playing great basketball. There's not much more you can ask from AD and Bron right now. Who they really need production from is Austin Reeves. Reeves, coming into this season, was supposed to be that third guy, that third option who can come in, create his own shot, get others involved, and kind of be a spark. But he started the year off really rough. Got inserted back into the starting lineup, played really well. He's kind of cooled down since then, but you need to have a big game from Austin Reeves, and he likes to show up in these big moments. Other role players on the Lakers have to play good. Obviously, guys like Gabe Vincent, Taurean Prince, just all the other guys they have, D'Lo. If they can play well, look, they can escape with this win, but this Pelicans team is no joke. I specifically held out one player to mention on the Pelicans because he is the X factor in this whole game. It's CJ McCollum. CJ's been having a really great season this year. He's been playing out of position, being the point guard, because they really don't have a true ball handler, yet he's still putting up one of his better seasons in his whole career while playing out of position. I think CJ's been really underrated this season. He's been one of the best players on this Pelicans team, if not their second best player, and if he can go off tonight like he has to, easy Pelicans win. If CJ has 25 or more, the Pelicans will win this game. Mark that down. And that's what I think happens. I think the Pelicans are going to claw and they're going to fight without Brandon Ingram and somehow come away with this win. There's also a theory going around that the Lakers are tanking so they don't have to face the Nuggets if they were to win this game, which I wouldn't doubt. The Nuggets have had their number as of late, so if a little choke job, not even a choke, if they are going to tank this game, it would not surprise me. If you see Darvin Ham throwing in some wild-ass lineups, Adam Silver, you might just have to get an investigation going. That's all I'm going to say. Now let's go back over to the East. Hawks versus Heat to get the 8th seed. I personally don't think this is going to be a close game. Either way, this team's going on to play the Boston Celtics, which I think will be a pretty quick round one. Look, don't count out the Heat, but this Celtics team is different. Despite how much I think they are frauds, they'll win their first round series. If the Heat lose their first game in the play-in, they will win their second game. They come to play in these big moments. They're battle-tested. They've been to the finals 2 times with this squad, or at least similar squad. I don't trust this Hawks team that much. They're a 10 seed for a reason. Yes, they're going to have Trey, DeJounte. They have talent. Give me the Heat. I don't think this is a discussion. So that means I have the 76ers as the 7th seed and the Heat as the 8th seed in the East. Now, let's go back over to the West. In the 8th seed game, we have the Lakers versus the Kings. Once again, I don't think this will be a close game. Like the Heat, the Lakers are battle-tested. They went to the Western Conference Finals last year for a reason. This is a good squad. Yes, they started the year off rough, but they've picked it up. They have picked it up, and they have the star talent that is much better than the Kings. LeBron and AD is a much better duo than De'Aaron and Sabonis, but at the same time, this Kings team is hungry. They're desperate. There's no doubt in my mind this Kings team is going to scrap. They're going to battle. That's why I have them winning this first game against the Warriors. They're playing at their place in that game. It's going to be jumping. It's going to be rocking. Light the beam. Light the beam. I mean, we all know the Kings fans. They're wild. But this next game, it's going to be at Crypto. Lakers at home. and the NBA is going to script this game. No, I'm kidding. I'm just joking, but they might. Bron in the playoffs is a lot of money and a lot of butts in those Lakers seats. So, look, I'm joking. I just think this Lakers team is better. I think they have better depth than the Kings. Their bench plays better. Obviously, Malik Monk is out, so they're not going to have that punch off the bench for the Kings. Give me the Lakers. The more I keep talking about this situation happening, even if it's the Warriors that would advance in the other game and the Lakers were to still lose, if it was Warriors-Lakers or if it's Kings-Lakers, I'm taking the Lakers either way. This team's, like I said, battle-tested, one of the best players of all time. Darvin Ham, not a great coach, but he'll squeak by. And they'll play the Oklahoma City Thunder, which OKC's a young team. They're good. Don't get me wrong. Very good team. MVP candidate in Shea. Anything could happen, though. And we saw that last year with the Lakers also being in the play-in, like the Heat, going on to beat the Grizzlies and make it all the way to the Western Conference Finals. So in the West, I got the Pelicans with the 7th seed, Lakers with the 8th seed, 76ers with the 7th seed, and Heat with the 8th seed in the East. That's how I think it's going to shake out, but I wouldn't be surprised if another team got in. Let's say the Hawks somehow squeak in, or maybe the Warriors. It's single game elimination for most of these games, except for the first one, obviously, between the 7 and 8 seed. Anything could really happen. When it's a one game, get in or go home, anything can really happen. This is the NBA. We've seen it so many times, and we've seen it in a ton of other sports too, like football, college basketball. That's the great thing about sports, and particularly the NBA. Anything could happen. I'm really excited to see what will happen in this NBA play-in tournament. Let me know what you disagree with or agree with in the comments below. Drop your predictions also down there, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.